got like all sorts of stuff, guys. So we're running comms. Yeah, Nate, I got you. I'm getting real-time updates from the production trailer as well as the jury here in the tower with me. And we're just kind of waiting for the first round to get going here.
Wait, are we going to be able to watch this live on stream as well?
That's the plan. It should be
Here we
coming in
go.
right
Let's
now.
go.
Look at that. So we had a little bit of a pause here, just to give everybody a little heads up. So one of the women fell pretty hard. She like wrecked it into the boards. I'll show you in a second in the trial jump. So we're finishing up the trial round a little bit late. Just FYI. So this is number 11. I don't have the start list in front of me, but I'll pull it up. That looks to be, I think that's one of the American girls. Devin, I'll shoot you the start list.
All right, I'm seeing a jumper going first. I don't know who this is.
Here comes the replay.
Oh, you're muted. Hold on. There you go. I can hear you now.
Awesome. So here we are on number 12, and I'll shoot you guys both, or everybody. I'll put it in the chat here, the start list to the event. So right now we're finishing up the women's trial round. We just already did the men's Nordic combined trial round, and we're gonna get hammering right into the competition here in a minute.
So when we say trial round, everybody gets a practice before the
practice before the comp. I mean, this is like I feel like we're kind of cutting edge here, Devin. Like Bob and I kind of dreamed this up a week ago. Like, hey, let's put our event live on FanFest, welcome the world in, and then also bring some people in to kind of watch it with us.
I love it. I think this is great. And obviously ski jumping is my sport. If I were to pick a winter sport, that's the one I'm gravitating to, just because I feel like I could jump out the gym. I got to learn how to ski first.
Yep.
But that's, it looks like the tracks are pretty steep, and I can figure that out in a few months, I think.
Absolutely. So, this is kind of a Nordic show tonight. We got a couple of the top athletes in the world, about 15 of the best women and 20 of the best men's Nordic combined skiers in the sports. And Devin Allen, you and I have hosted some of these shows together, but my guess is this is going to be a little bit more of a Nordic fan watching tonight. So I just want to introduce you. Devin Allen is the top American in the 110 hurdles, which I think for most of us, winter athletes, we think about amplitude and speed and adrenaline, but, none of us are really analyzing how fast we are compared to the rest of the people in the world. It's more based on the overall of putting it all together. So Devin is one of those people that's absolutely one of the best in the world, just at running fast, jumping high, and all around just all-star athlete. And he's also been an incredible host for this series. And tonight, Devin, tell us a little bit more. Why are you joining, and what are we looking for?
Yeah, thanks for the intro. Like Billy said, I'm a U.S. hurdler, competed in 2016 Olympics, 2020 Tokyo Games, got 5th in Rio and 4th in Tokyo. I was the number 1 ranked hurdler last year in the world. As an athlete, I also played 2 sports in college. I played college football, was one of the leading receivers in the 2014 season where we went to the national championship, played Ohio State. So, I'm super interested in just all athletics in general, which is, why I'm such an Olympic sports fan, winter sports fan. And I like to see the similarities between winter sports and summer sports. And we kind of talked through this whole series on how similar the training can be, how similar the mindsets are for all the athletes. And so, just getting to be a part of learning the events that, we're watching today with ski jumping. And we talked about Nordic, cross-country skiing. We talked about speed skating during the segment as well. A lot of interesting things. And, that's one of the reasons why I'm here doing a live stream with you, Billy. Me and you have been kind of in and out of this show for the last month here, which has been really great getting to know you as well. And I'm excited to watch this event and kind of just, live stream / watch party the event while you kind of give me the rundown of what's important, what we're looking for, leading into the competition.
Absolutely. So that was a word from one of our sponsors, Team Magnus Mini Skis. It's been a great partnership, but we're jumping in here. We're going to start out with the men's Nordic combined event. So earlier today, we hosted a race, which is a kind of a reverse format of what we normally do. So normally the jumping happens first, and then we have a race which is based off of the jumping. So, if you win the jumping, you start first, and everybody has a handicap based on how much shorter they jumped, but the first person across the line wins. Today, we did it the opposite. So it was a mass start race, and I'm actually going to cue this up. We're going to watch the replay from today. And Devin, you're going to recognize a couple of the guys.
Yeah, we talked to him before, right? Got it queued up.
Yeah. So literally we're probably on a 30-second delay off of this feed right outside this window. So honestly, Devin, I'm actually looking forward to showing you and the folks at home, like, what actually goes on behind the scenes a little bit during some of the pauses we have today.
Oh, for sure. And I think too, something interesting, if you're a first time viewer of this event, like you said, doing the flip flop probably doesn't happen a lot, right? Where they do the race first, right? And then the jump. So it's kind of interesting, right? With the jump, you're like, hey, I jumped this far. I need to ski this, 15 seconds faster than the guy ahead of me to catch him, or vice versa. And the new format you guys got going today, you already did the race, so now you know exactly how far you need to jump in order to win.
So that's what's
very
pretty cool. As the person gets on the bar, we're literally going to be able to say what it's going to take for them to take over that lead. So if the jumper before them, skied a few seconds slower and then jumps 80, they already had a meter in their pocket to take the lead. We'll know that they need to go 79 to outjump that person. And if they go 85, then the next person, has to go 87 or 88.
I feel like this might be the order it needs to go in. That makes it a little bit more like,
it makes it easier to jump at night. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Well, and it's a little bit like sudden death, right? Because you only get one jump.
One jump to rule them all.
Exactly. Right. So like you already raced, that's done. And now you have one jump to kind of, it's like the final jump and long jump, right? You got two guys, tied per se, and you're trying to,
I'll tell you what, since I'm gonna go get an update quick here from the tower, but I'm gonna see how our guys in the production trailer are doing. Hey Nate, you got a copy? Maybe yes, maybe no. So I'm going to try to get them to roll the replay from this morning. And some combination of radios and text messages. We're going to show you this race.
See, this is the great thing about this show, as well as, me and you get to be live and are making it work. We got a couple of producers. Shout out producer Bob in the back, helping us out, helping us run it.
I'm loving all the people that are popping on too. So, hey, Tia Libin, she's a grant writer for USA Nordic. I saw her pop in. Maxim Glifka is one of our up-and-coming Nordic combined athletes who actually just went to the World Junior Championships in Poland last week as a ski jumper. So it's cool to see people joining in to watch this. We have done a lot of live stream over the years. Yes. Oh, sorry.
What event just happened like last week?
That was, so we had World Junior Championships and also World Cup finals.
Okay,
so,
World Cup finals.
So Taylor and Jasper and Ben and I think it was actually Taylor, Ben and Jared, who you met, I think at least 2 or 3 of those guys. They went over to Oslo, Norway.
Jasper didn't retire? Whose last race was it?
Taylor's
last race
last weekend.
Yeah, because I actually watched the finish, and they like sprayed him with champagne. That was pretty cool.
It's interesting. So folks at home, I've done a lot of live stream. I can tell you these guys think they're rolling the replay right now, and it's not coming up. So we've got Team Magnus Miniskis.
I'm watching. I think I'm watching the live stream still.
This is the live stream, and so they have full control. If you've ever been inside a production trailer, that's almost worth a world's greatest episode in and of itself. There's a lot of different things going on.
So is this the number one partner?
They are an excellent partner. Obviously they really just focus on kids skis, but for our
Okay.
community, they really work well.
I was gonna say, I was like, those skis look a little bit smaller than
Yeah.
the ones you guys are using. Is there any like legal ruling on the length of skis? I know that the skis change based on the person's size, but is there like a max length ski or
Yeah, there is. It's actually so it's 146% of your height.
okay. So
So
that's the max.
if you're I'm 5'10, so I max out at 260 centimeters. It's almost 8 feet plus or minus. But for every centimeter you are taller or shorter, your skis get a little bit longer, a
You get
little
a
bit
centimeter
shorter.
and a half. Yeah.
So
So 5'10. So if I'm 6'1", what I get? I get
you would
one and
get
a
like a
half.
180 or
Yeah.
sorry, 280, 27. No, wait. I'm a 260. So you're about, yeah,
270.
270. Yeah. A
Okay.
little bit
And
longer than Taylor's.
and with that, does the because I know height, weight, and all that stuff matters. Does the weight change, or do they try to keep it the same weight?
Um, so the weight is actually part of the rules as well. In the past, it used to be the lighter the better, but that obviously became pretty unhealthy. And I won't
Mhm.
exaggerate. There were literally athletes that were my size that were 30 pounds less than I am.
Ooh.
Um, and that was for the ski jumping only athletes. So they actually developed a BMI function, which you can only have the skis as long as you're allowed to have them if your body weight is at least about a 19.5 BMI with your suit and boots on. All right, it looks like we're getting ready to roll some four jumpers here. I'll tell you what,
Is this the final? This is the finals. They already ran through all the practice.
they
And
did.
now
Yep.
we're ready
So
to.
actually, the athletes that you see kind of getting ready right now
Yep.
are they're basically like the pre-jumpers. They're the ones who are there for a number of reasons. A, to make sure the track's clear. B, if it starts to snow, to kind of ski it in, so that the competitors have the freest track possible. After a crash, after a technical break for television, etc., they're always going to send a four jumper, and they'll send a few right before this round starts. So, Devin, this is certainly a big event for us, and I just want to thank a couple of our partners real quick. So, backcountry.com has been an amazing apparel and outerwear partner for us. And it was actually really cool. It was founded by my childhood hero, Jim Holland, who was a 94 Olympic ski jumper. And it's one of the biggest online retailers of backcountry gear. And now they do a lot of their own clothing. So that's what our team is rocking all year. We also have the Summit County Restaurant Tax Grant, which has been very supportive of this event and many other nonprofits in our area, as well as obviously the state of Utah. They do a lot with the marketing dollars to help promote the tourism that our state relies on. So Utah Life Elevated, a proud partner for the FIS Continental Cup, I think for the fourth or fifth year in a row. So really cool to have them behind us. Um, since we are waiting, and again, that fall created a bit of a hold. My guess is we're going to start rolling here in a couple minutes. Devin, I'm going to walk over to the tower, but I'm going to bring you with me and just give you a little peek behind the scenes. We're going to go talk
Oh,
to competition staff while our first four jumper gets ready to go. So there's a
so
lot going on in this tower.
so my question, right? It's 7:13 there, Park City time.
It is 7:13 Park City time. You guys want to say hi to the world real quick?
Competitions.
This is Vladu. He's the technical director from the International Ski Federation.
Nice.
For men's Nordic combined. We have some of our competition secretaries here: Joanna Locke and Barry Nan, Rothschild, Lindsay Van, a former world champion in ski jumping. Looks like she's taking some notes on a start list. And chief of competition is Keith Hansen here, studying what's coming at us. So,
I
guys,
just saw somebody fly by.
we're going to be on 7:15. Awesome. All right, Devin, we're about to get going here. Alan Johnson, the grandfather of the sport here in the United States.
No, that's great.
So we're getting ready for bib number one right now. And Devin, again, with the delay from a production truck to what we're seeing and the folks at home, we'll see at the same time everybody else does, but it's typically about a 30 to 40 second delay.
Okay.
So whatever's happening on our screen actually already happened, which
30
makes
seconds.
all of live television a lot more challenging than you would think.
Oh, 100%. Okay. So
and were you able to pull up that start list?
Yep.
So
is that in order?
Let's talk about this. So we've got let's see here. Starting first for the men's Nordic combined will be. Did I send you the same link twice? I might have. We're gonna have Pavel from Poland. He's our sole Polish competitor.
Okay.
Looks like we're trying to put graphics up. We're all sorts of fun tonight. Folks, I got to tell you, it's like having built a production trailer and been out in the field stringing fiber optic cable to make all this kind of stuff happen. That's actually one of our 4 jumpers. That's a Park City young jumper named Ryder.
So. Okay, I have a quick question because I'm looking at this start list. So we're talking total points. What's the goal? Highest points or lowest points?
The goal is highest points. So right now you're going to get a composite score. Yep. That's our last 4 jumper. Looks like he's having a little trouble in the air, but I think that's more him than anything else. It's a beautiful night out. The composite score for the jumping is the distance, the judges' scores, and there's a bit of a factor about the conditions like wind. But that's a pretty minimal factor in most competitions, especially a night like tonight. But with the Nordic combined, we're going to actually have the race will be like the beginning of their score. So 120 points is what the winner of the race, which was Taylor Fletcher, will start with. Okay. And then he's going to add his jumping score to that. But now we're going to start with Pavel Zindler of Poland. And in the first round, if you go to that live ticker, which is available on the FIS website, you'll see you've got Pavel Zindler starting in first. And his points coming into this, it looks like he's got 25.5 points, which he'll add to now with his jumping score. And we'll be able to see this coming out.
And that's going to be, is it as simple as just adding the distance?
It is, yeah. Okay. Well, so the distance, actually, they get a 1.5 points per meter. So he just went 77.5 points, or sorry, 75.5 meters. Yeah. So that will get added to his cross-country score. So his actual score, Pavel's, was 17.5, which would be added to his cross-country score to get the final ranking. Okay. So that was his first jumper. We're competing for all the marbles now. We are now. So jumper number 2 is Eric Lynch. Eric comes out of the Steamboat Springs Winter Sports Club. He was on the national team quite a while ago, but he's struggled with some major health issues related to Lyme disease. And so it's really amazing that he's back competing because he literally had to live in a clean room and he's just been training kind of by himself for a long time. And he's finally getting his health back. And it looks like he had a pretty good jump, almost to 80 meters there. So he's likely to go flying right past Pavel.
And is the jump back order in order of like leading to not leading?
Like it's going from the person who crossed the finish line last, and then it'll go through to Taylor, who won the race today. And so Taylor's starting with an advantage. So we'll know pretty much right before he jumps what he has to do in his jump to retain the lead. And we're going to kind of know that as we go through this. So this is Gunnar Gilbertson of Steamboat Springs as well, but he's a member of the USA Nordic Junior National Team. He actually just had the longest jump at the Junior World Championships last week. So he's like one of our major up-and-comers.
And talk me through those lines real quick. So that big blue line, what is that? Is that like a 60-meter mark, 70-meter mark?
So the jump that we're on tonight is an HS 100, and hill size is what HS stands for. That means it's basically the longest distance that the jump is safely designed to have. So as they come down the ice track and they leave the takeoff, they're immediately covering 50 meters before they even get over that knoll. That blue line is at 80. The red line, the first of the red lines is at 90, and that last one is at 100 meters. So tonight we're likely to see a jump close to or right around 100 meters. If they go much further than that,
you can do really safely.
Really safely, given the right conditions.
Not all safe,
You could go about 105 on this hill, but you're really starting to push your luck. So Gunnar handily took over the lead right now with a great jump. And actually, I can pull that up. If you guys are at home and you like what you're seeing, this can all be seen live on the FIS International Ski Federation app. And this is Dominico Mariotti from Italy, who's the fourth of our athletes to compete tonight. Looks like he squeaked over the 80-meter mark. Gunnar Gilbertson went 82. Dominico, we're waiting for the distance now. And looks to me like he pops in. Let's see here. He popped in at 83. So he's slightly passed over Gunnar Gilbertson to take the lead. And then now we have number 5, Grant Andrews. And Grant's he's kind of in the peer group of Jasper and Ben Loomis age-wise. He might be a little bit younger. So he's one of our, he's kind of like part of the depth of our field right now. You know, we have the 5 athletes we sent to Beijing, and then we have another 10 athletes that are really kind of like right on that world elite circuit.
I feel like you guys have been talking about Ben and Grant the last few times we've hopped on.
Yep. So here comes Grant. He did not get a ticket to Beijing this time around, but he's certainly tracking to that level. Grant is definitely known a little. Oh, and that was kind of what happened earlier when we right before we came in live. One of the female athletes, one of the women, had a little trouble right there at the end of the outrun. It's a bit icy, I think, as the sun goes down here in Utah. That outrun started to
and that doesn't affect the scoring.
It does not. Well, so not that far out. Yeah, there's a line, and I'll try to point it out to you, but about 50 meters past the curve where they land, there's a line. If you keep everything nice and pretty to there, theoretically, there should be no deductions. If you do touch or fall before that, anything you do before that is judged. So here comes our one of our Norwegian competitors, Lars Burris. He's one of the fastest athletes. He was one of the Europeans who was able to make the trip, but in this weekend, because not the whole team was able to come, Team USA is actually supporting him for coaching and waxing. But you can see at a really nice jump.
Ooh.
I imagine that will easily
90-meter mark.
Yeah, that's 87.5 meters.
Are we going off the front skis or the back?
So you actually mark where the feet land. So if they land together, there's actually video cameras they basically grid out the entire jump and they mark them. If they land in a telemark, which is kind of 1 foot in front of the other, which is the more stylish way to land, they mark right in the middle of where the 2 feet hit.
Oh, okay. And I got one more because we're watching this one live. Are you allowed to push off that bar?
You can do. Yep, you can absolutely push off that bar.
Oh,
so this is Jasper. What's that?
We know Jasper.
Yeah, we do.
Here we go. Come on.
Jasper had a great race today. So he enters this in 10th place. Very easily could take the lead handily right now because he hung in a very tough pack. So he's not super far behind the leaders.
Ooh, yeah, that's a great jump too.
That was a great jump.
So 85 meters.
That was, I like how you're already starting to mark. We're going to have you out here. That was 86.5. So 1 meter shy of Lars Burris. However, on the cumulative points, it looks like Jasper took the lead over Lars.
And this is what makes it interesting because they've already done the race. So like you could literally go from, like you said, Jasper 10th place finish into first with the jump.
Yep.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah, typically the mass start is known as more of a jumpers event because they can tend to hang draft behind some of the faster skiers longer, therefore kind of eliminating some of the time difference.
Oh, for sure.
However, like I said, Taylor put on a show. I'm hoping we can figure out how to get that race back on one of these breaks between the men and the women's competition. So looks like we've got Florian Kolb of Austria. There was a real kind of dogfight between the Americans and the Austrians during the race. So we had a couple people like Taylor and actually the guy who led the small hill for most of the race in Beijing from Germany, Jakob Langa, were way out in front. But then there was this massive pack. It was like Austria, USA, Austria, Austria, USA, USA. And you can kind of see that unfold as we go back through the reverse order. Again, I think there's a bit of a scoring issue going on because Grant Andrews' jump certainly didn't jump him above Jasper and Lars. So our timing folks, again, live competition, are downstairs. They're from Switzerland. I might go down and knock on their door in a minute. Sure, they got algorithms correct.
Shout out to Swiss timing, though.
Absolutely. We got Jared Shumate on the bar here. You also met Jared, right? I
Maybe.
think you went on a show, but maybe you might have been when you were competing. Oh, there's Tia. She just popped in again. Jared Shumate really broke out in Beijing. He had the second highest American finish. Ben took 15th. Jared took 17th on the large hill. Really hardworking guy. He literally was still a club athlete, going to college, footing his own bills while working a full-time job, and finally broke onto the national team. And the last couple of years, he's really just been able to focus. And so now he's becoming one of the best skiers in the world. It's awesome to see. So Jared took the lead handily. He's got about 10 points on Jasper now.
Okay. So what are we when we're talking about this run down the runway on the ice? What are we talking in terms of speed for the men?
So the speed, actually, if you look at that live ticker I sent you, the speed for these athletes right now is averaging right around 88.2 kilometers an hour. So right around 50.
Okay.
And that's their takeoff.
That's
They
pretty
will,
fast considering.
yeah, they will accelerate in this phase as they start to gain vertical velocity.
Yeah.
So that's Florian Kalb. Let's see here. No, sorry, that was Mark Louis Rayner, also of Austria. So he actually just slotted in right next to Jasper and Jared. They all went 86.5 meters. Lars still has the longest jump, but again, he was at a bit of a deficit. Again, looking at this results page, ignore Grant. I'm not sure what's going on there.
Yeah, because he went way ahead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's kind of hanging out there. So I'm not sure what's going on with the calculations. Obviously, before the final results are done, everybody's got to sign off on it. Here's Ben. So Ben, theoretically, could have the longest jump. He seems to be jumping very consistently here. Ben, again, was our top finisher for Team USA in Beijing at 15th. But he's a real competitor. There you go. Right past the 90-meter mark.
Yeah, wow. That's for sure the longest jump by far.
So Ben, pretty much every time in his career he's had a big goal or a big opportunity, he's managed to capitalize. So he has medaled at the Youth Olympic Games and the World Junior Championships.
Okay.
And he comes from
how old is Ben?
Wisconsin. What's that?
How old is Ben?
Ben is 25, I believe.
Okay, so still young in this sport.
Still young in this sport for sure. And he's one of Jasper's fellow servicemen in the National Guard here in Utah.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And then here's young Steven Schumann. He's the youngest of the athletes who went to Beijing, but also was able to finish in the top 25. Really strong way for him to start his Olympic career. So Steven had a great race today. I think after the race, he was in 5th or 6th. I can't remember, but he was right in that hunt for the podium of the race part of this event.
So how long does a competitive season last post Olympics? Usually, is it all through to spring, pretty much?
It is, yeah. Our season really year in year out runs from about Thanksgiving through end of March.
Okay.
This year, our last event. This is the first of a series, so we're going to go from here to Whistler, Canada, to compete at the Olympic venue from 2010, and then on to Lake Placid, New York. So
when's Lake Placid?
What's that?
When's Lake Placid?
It's March 25th and 26th.
Okay.
What are you doing?
If it was pushing to April, I might just come up.
All right. Well, if you get a wild hair and decide anyways, I'll be there.
Okay. We could do a live broadcast from the booth.
We could. So this is Thomas Rettinger from Austria. He's actually my son and his friend's favorite skier from Europe. He's a young kid who's really coming in strong. You can see how aggressive he was off the takeoff.
Ooh, that's a 90-meter jump.
That was definitely 90. Thanks, Bob.
Here's the link. I need the link. Oh, we got quite a few people watching.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
What's cool too, actually, Devin, is I'm watching this on our website right now. So I put a player for FanFest on the USANordic.org website. It's pretty
So
cool.
this is just as live as we're getting it. The people back home are getting it live.
Yep.
Nice.
Here comes Manuel Einkemmer. And I'm just sending Bob a message. Gonna try to see if we can pull in some of the athletes as they finish.
So it looked like Ben went to the lead with that last jump with his jump.
He did for sure.
Okay.
And I don't think that for the next couple athletes, they're going to have the advantage unless they jump much further to pass Ben. But that's what makes the sport interesting is the more it develops over time, the better the top athletes are at both disciplines. Like back, especially before my career, you'd have guys who were so fast, but they can never jump far enough to win, or you guys who could jump so well, but they were never fast enough to stay ahead. And then in my era, you really had to be good at both. But now we have a few athletes that are really the best at both. And that makes it obviously very, very hard to balance those two disciplines. So yeah, it looks like Ben Loomis still has the longest jump at 91.5. However, yep, and he's still leading. Manuel Einkemmer that just jumped, slotted in right behind him. Here comes our top.
Unless the Grant Andrews score is correct, then Grant might be ahead.
He must have had a crazy windstorm if that happens. That's about the only thing that would possibly explain that. But I'm guessing that's a timing error. So here comes our Italian, Aaron Costner. He had a great race. He finished fourth, actually third. So we're really into the last three right now. So Aaron looks like it'll be interesting to see if he was able to hold that gap that he had in the race over Ben Loomis. And waiting for the distance.
Is there a big training hub for? I know like Steamboat Springs is like the hub, kind of Park City, Lake Placid for the U.S. Is there a European training hub, or do they all have their own little camps?
So it depends on the country. A lot of countries don't have a whole lot of jumps at all, let alone good facilities. So they tend to flock to the nations that do. So Germany, Austria, Norway really have a lot of venues. Italy, Slovenia, and some of the other countries like France have one or two or three good venues like the US. US has a lot of clubs, like we've talked about the 30, but we have three big ones in Lake Placid, Steamboat, and Park City. So this is our second to last competitor right now. This is Jakob Langa. So in the Beijing Games, he literally led most of the race, and then one of his teammates came from behind in the last kilometer. So if you haven't seen that, you might want to go back and watch it. But this is one of the top athletes in the world right here. My guess is that's going to be very close to probably, yep. So that's David Mock. He just passed Ben Loomis. So he's the first athlete, and you can see now that they've adjusted Grant Andrews. So Grant fell back to 12th place after that adjustment. So David Mock of Germany. Now it's going to be Jakob Langa.
So David Mock went to first.
He did. Yep. So he edged out Ben Loomis with that time advantage that he had from the cross country. Hold on. The taco truck down in the parking lot's calling me. I don't think that's going to work. I might have to silence my phone here. So Jakob, not happy with his jump. He was, like I said, one of the top athletes in Beijing, nearly won the gold medal.
Yeah.
But looks like he might have bobbled his takeoff a little bit on that one.
Looks like he might have been a little bit late.
Yeah, distance 78 meters. That's a major disappointment for him. So that puts Ben Loomis in a second, I'll tell you, but I think officially on the podium. And here comes Taylor Fletcher for one of his last jumps.
This is the last competitor.
Yep. Here we go.
Come on. I'm locked in. I'm invested now because I know Taylor.
Taylor was absolutely amazing today in the cross country race. He skied just all by himself, skied away from everybody. So he's got about a 7-meter advantage.
Ooh, that's a good jump.
It's a good jump. It's a good solid jump, and I believe that's enough to do it because he had about 7 meters in hand over Jakob, who
I
obviously
think
did
that's at
not
least an
have to
85-meter jump, right? Has to
and he
be.
had about 10 meters on David Mock. So my guess is we're going to see him pop into the victory spot here in a second. It looks like we have. Oh man, live time is slowed down.
Yeah, it hasn't updated yet.
It's not updating. Taylor Fletcher says to beat 92 and a half
There we
meters.
go. Taylor
Trying it, though.
Fletcher. Oh, mine updated.
Oh, he's dominating. 116 and a half points. He takes it easily. 5 points to the good.
All right, so is it? So that's the final. Taylor Fletcher, David Mock, Ben Loomis.
Yep. So the podium right now: Taylor Fletcher, David Mock of Germany, Ben Loomis of the USA, followed by a couple of the Austrians, Manuel Eichinger and Thomas Redinger, and then Jared Shumate rounds out the FIS podium. We call it top 6 for Team USA.
Nice. So
oh yeah.
I got a quick question just because I'm interested in all this, and I'm sure that some of the fans that maybe are joining us that aren't in the winter sports, Nordic combined realm.
Mm-hmm.
What are we looking at in terms of? Are we getting a trophy here? Are we getting prize money, bottles of champagne, some cheese?
Well, at this level, it's prize money to top 6. World Cup goes top 20 for jumping or for Nordic combined and top 30 for jumping. But at this level, it's top 6. About $1,500 to the winner on this tour. Better than nothing, right?
$1,500 for a day's work. I'll take it.
I'll take it. We talked about that for a while that one night. And then we've got actually some really cool pewter like kind of vases and cups, kind of in Nordic skiing history. Like the King's Cup has always been this big pewter cup, and so we've been kind of following that lead here in Park City. But every organizer gets to choose what they want to do for like an award. So sometimes you get something local, like a wood dish, or like in Finland, it's usually like a birch wood dish. Other places will do something out of metal or glass. So
I think when I do competitions, some of the coolest stuff, obviously getting paid is important because that's how we make a living. But some of the cool trophies, like you said, we get like glasses of wine, big rolls of cheese.
Yeah.
Some cool, some interesting things that aren't really material value that we get to keep. As like keepsakes are probably the coolest part of doing those competitions all over the world.
Yeah. So I believe they've gone through and they've basically finalized the scores. So we should see those pop up in a second. We'll run through the whole list. So we've got Taylor Fletcher in his retirement race, taking the win. That's huge. I mean, I love to see a guy who's gone to 4 Olympic Games go out on top. And David Mock of Germany, again in second. Ben Loomis of the USA in third. Ben is a second-time Olympian. Certainly somebody I think to watch for a medal in the future. A couple of the Austrian guys, Manuel Eichinger and Thomas Redinger. And then obviously Jared Shumate, one of our strongest athletes from Beijing, rounds out the top 6. Jakob Langa, interestingly, fell down from his great race to finish in the 7th position. Mark Louis Rayner from Austria finished in 8th. Jasper Good of the US in 9th. And Lars Burris of Norway in 10th. So, pretty eclectic international field here for the end of the season. And really, obviously, Devin, I don't know what you're hearing, but we went from 10 or 12 teams to 6 really quickly in terms of nations, mostly because of the Ukraine conflict. Has that been happening in track and field?
Not specifically. The only thing is I wouldn't really be able to tell you because the last few competitions have only been US based. We do have our World Indoor Championships next week, right? And that's actually in Serbia. So I would not be surprised if a few of the conflicting nations are maybe out of there or didn't make travel or whatever like that. So it's definitely been something interesting on sport in general and the whole everyone involved in the world in general.
Yeah. So we're going to try one more time to. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Well, this is interesting because I'm looking at the results, right? And we talked about Jakob, doing a great race, and so it's interesting that this format is kind of flip flops, so that you can see how important that jump really is.
Yeah.
Right. Like, in my head, 10 meters isn't that big a deal, or even 7 meters, but that put him that put him, pretty much out of the running by being 5 meters off
Yep.
of, a 85-meter jump or so. So very, very interesting that, the jump's weight is almost more important or equally important to how fast you can ski. So like
Yeah.
you said, that some of the best in the world right now probably have to be, very, very fast and good jumpers in order to even compete or to compete and win.
Absolutely. So we're getting the highlights loaded up. We're gonna see if we can actually catch the race. Bob, you want to bring somebody in from the chat? I saw Maxim Gleifko was hanging in there.
Can we just bring anybody from the chat? Is that possible?
That's my understanding.
I don't know. I don't know how this works. I just show up and I'm in.
It's so funny. I'm like literally texting and radioing back and forth with the production truck as we go here. So again, guys, like you've got live television, and the difference is when we did Olympic trials this year over Christmas, it was about $250,000 for the TV show for that day for NBC. This by comparison, instead of 75 people in 2 satellite trucks with miles of fiber optic cable, we're literally down to about 6 people, which is a good sized crew. I've done it with
Good
less.
crew. Yeah.
And Bob, I think I saw Max's hand go up. Let's bring him in here. And actually, I'm going to mute myself once Max comes in and try to figure out when we're going to play these highlights. I know they're trying to get it up here for us. Oh, we got L. Jones. Hey there. But it's really fascinating when you get behind the scenes on sports. Devin and I have pontificated a little bit about how to put more money in athletes' pockets, how to create more value, and certainly events like this. It's easy just to do it for the athletic side, but it's important to try to bring in the partners and the prize money and really make it sustainable so that especially athletes from countries like America that don't have a lot of corporate sponsorship, don't have government funding, can have a viable future as they progress and support their training and their career.
100%. I think it's really important too, just to, bring sports, to make the average viewer like myself, other than, watching track and field and American football, make it accessible. Because, all this stuff is really interesting to me. And I just never really knew about it or knew, how to keep score, what's important. I'm just watching it to enjoy it. And once you really learn, you kind of get more engulfed
Totally.
in the competition. And knowing Taylor is a great cross country skier, so now we're like, okay, he ran a great race, he's in the lead, all he has to do is jump a 82 to win, right? And that's important as a fan because if you don't know what's going on, really you're just like, oh, what does that mean, how far did he jump, and then you just get the results at the end and you're like, okay, great. So
Yeah.
it's cool to be behind the scenes, for sure, and to kind of get the inside scoop, especially talking to you because you know everybody and everything that's going on.
Yep. So let's see here. Bob, can you bring somebody in? I wanna see how they're liking the show from home.
Oh, we have a special guest coming in shortly.
Okay. Is that I don't wanna, blow the surprise. But that's what's so cool about this is just being able to pull in anybody anywhere who happens to be awake.
Hey, you know what? If I need to, I'll call Usain Bolt and get him on.
Do
Get
it.
him on the show.
Well,
What's
all right.
interesting?
All right. Out of
Yeah.
10, how many times do you take him in 100?
Out of 10?
Yeah.
Right now, 10 out of 10. But, obviously in his prime, 0. There was actually an opportunity. This is funny. My first year pro in 2017, there was an opportunity for me to race in the 100 in Usain Bolt's last competition in Jamaica. And I had just raced the hurdles about 40 minutes before, and I decided to pass on it.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying that I would have beat Usain Bolt, but he only ran about 10. I think he ran like 10-1, 10-15, which is just around the wheelhouse of like what I can do in 100. So I'm just saying I could have possibly beat Usain Bolt in a race, but I missed my opportunity. So
Look,
I
I'm
go
only 12 second, pro. So if I'm lucky.
12. See, here's the thing: 12 seconds is not, no scrub either.
It feels like I'm gonna kick myself in the back. when I'm going, I'm sure I couldn't do it now, but like I was, super fit and stretched out, like I could break, like I was like 12.2, 12.4, and it felt so fast. And then you're like, I would be like 30 meters behind you guys if we were 100, which is
Yeah,
crazy.
and that's the funny thing too. Like, there's some talk on Instagram and Twitter saying, "Hey, we should just put a random person in every event, just to compare,
Just
like,
to show.
just to
Yeah.
show."
Like I would have been like Forrest Gump. You guys would have finished 30 meters ahead of me. I would have just kept going the same pace for the next 400 meters.
Yeah. Well, and people too, especially in my event, the hurdles, they're like, whenever I set up the hurdles, they're like, "Oh, like, is that how high they are?" And I was like, "Yeah." They're like, "Wow, you can't
I
tell
never
on
noticed.
TV."
Yeah.
Like 3'6" is pretty high.
Yeah. And I mean, like, you're probably one of the shorter guys.
For sure, for sure. Which is
And so,
great, which is crazy to say, at being 6'1", but like most of the field is between 6 feet, 6'5",
but
right?
still, it's like, it's waist high to you probably, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
So,
100%.
it's like when you're looking at it on TV, it doesn't look super high, but you got to remember, like the whole field's 6'1" to 6'5"
Yeah.
or something. It's crazy. I'm just gonna mute myself radio down here and see if I can get my boy Nate on. So hang on a second.
Well, hey everybody, thanks for watching. I appreciate you guys being here. If you're a Nordic Combined athlete or a fan, glad you're here. If you don't know anything about Nordic Combined, you're a little bit behind me because I've been learning about this event the last month, which is pretty great. And glad you're here as well.
Oh, it's on.
Oh, we got somebody. Oh, there he is.
Hey, Kenny.
Hello there.
Thanks for joining, man.
Of course, I'm calling from a side of the road motel at a girls' soccer tournament. That's what's happening here.
No free shout outs, but shout out Super 8.
Yeah, this one is not known for its Wi-Fi. I'm having a lot of emails kicked back, but I'm on my phone holding it sideways. What are we doing? What's going on? Give me an update.
So right now we are live at the Ski Nordic Combined Continental Cup event in Park City, Utah.
Yeah, right we are.
They usually do the event with the ski jump first, take your distance, and they kind of do a staggered start based on how far you jump. So the people that jump the furthest get a start first, and then people that jump least furthest start last. What they did for this event is they flopped it. So they did a shotgun start where they started everybody at the same time, and then they ran from least fast to fastest the jump, and whoever jumps the furthest and skis the fastest in theory wins. So Taylor Fletcher of the U.S. actually just finished his jump, and he went out in front, and he is what we would call gold medalist, first place finisher, and the men's event. We're getting ready to do the women's jump as well. And Billy DeMong, say that again.
So that was a comprehensive review. I was really just making conversation, but you came heavy with lots of info.
Oh, I'm learning.
Will Ferrell movie. There's a Will Ferrell movie on. Do we have the rights to show that?
We're not. Talladega Nights.
Okay.
Shake and bake.
Wait, our other guy just left. What happened? Why did he leave?
So have you gotten the chance to talk to Billy yet?
No, I just came on here. We got people texting us, tweeting us something. I was asked, "Hey, can you join the show and just say anything?" And that's what I'm here for. I think a new event, modify this event, and I have another rule change also for golf. But what if, like 5 jumpers, just like a wider path, and they all just go at once?
And so actually, we call it rapid fire, and everybody goes like,
yeah,
boom, 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 boom. So they're in the air, like following each other.
Amazing! I would love to see that, or 5 across, go like 5 wide, Talladega.
We need a big old wide hill. So yeah. Kenny, I'm Billy DeMong. I don't think we've actually had the chance to meet you. But thanks for joining.
Thank you. Can I tell you my rules changed for golf I just made up the other day?
No.
Go ahead.
I think I can shave 15 strokes. So I want to be able to throw at any time I feel like it, basically. Like
just one time.
No. Every hole if I feel like it. So play your regular, and it counts as a stroke. but I'd much prefer from 75 in to throw as opposed to using a 9 or a wedge. Like, because I'm never gonna hit the ball in the woods. I'm never gonna hit it 4 feet. I'm always gonna be either on or come close to it. And I think it could revolutionize the sport. I know it's not what we're talking about tonight, but it just came to me to share that with you.
I mean, the only way I'm ever going to be any better at golf is if I get to do something like that. So
I think we're just making up stuff at the time. I played golf actually today, and
nice.
And I'm with you because it did not go well. And if I could throw the ball, I would say probably about 50 strokes.
Do you know that oftentimes guys, and I'm sure girls do it too, but will make up a game. They just made it up. Literally 2 minutes ago, they just made it up. But then they'll argue while they're playing as though these rules have been handed down for centuries. Like we did some really stupid stuff. Won't even tell you because we don't want to encourage the kids. Like jackass type material, right? Like from that movie. And then we would argue about, wait a minute, you can't step on the board by that, like whatever game you're, we're just random thoughts right here. Free association. Let's take calls. Who's tweeting us? What do we got at the bottom? Somebody said something.
Call it in.
Yeah.
Billy, what we got going on again? We have the 4 athletes doing the test jump.
Yep. So this is our last 4 jumper, I believe. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up the start list for the women's competition. So Kenny, I'm Billy DeMung. I'm the executive director for USA Nordic Sport, which is the ski jumping and Nordic combined kind of Olympic association.
Olympic gold medalist, by the way.
How come I can't see anything? I just see mountains and you guys.
Oh, you don't see the actual competition happening right now?
No, I feel cheated.
That's weird.
Here, refresh your screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, who knows how to do that? Hit that little circle arrow thing, you mean?
Yeah, yep.
Let's see what happens.
All right, we've got bib number 1, Estella Hasrick, climbing out onto the bar right now. Oh, Kenny dropped.
I see a familiar name in there.
Yep. All right, folks, welcome back. We've got the women's first round. This is actually a fairly historic competition. It's the first women's ski jumping FIS event since 2009 to be contested in the United States. And this is an up-and-coming junior national team member, Estella Hasrick. She's from Minnesota, and it looks like she had a really solid first jump.
I'm going to have to believe you because I still don't see it, but I love that she did that successfully.
That's crazy.
Hey,
are most of these
we got to send Kenny a link.
Are they mostly from Northern American areas? Northern and Western, I would say. Colorado,
it's
Utah,
actually pretty much just
Minnesota.
The snowbound region. So it's like Alaska to New Hampshire.
Okay.
Jennifer.
Sorry. Jennifer, her mom.
Wisconsin.
Jennifer from Wisconsin.
Jennifer's never going to let me live that one down.
Common knowledge.
She's a huge supporter of USA Nordic in terms of just her volunteerism.
Is that mom?
What's that?
Is that Stella's mom?
Yeah, it was. Yep. So now we've got Macy Olden coming down. Macy's from Park City. She's another junior national team member.
So what's a good jump for the women? Like, give me a kind of a distance for the women. Like, what are we looking for?
The distances should actually be the same. So the degree of difficulty here is actually the speed. So, the men's field will usually start from a lower gate than the men's Nordic combined field. So the jumping specialists, and then the women's ski jumping athletes will be starting somewhere, maybe around the men's Nordic combined. What's really happening though is like the gate where the speed is coming from is picked by the jury so that the best athletes will go close to that 100-meter line without getting hurt. And so realistically, if you see somebody going far short of that 100 meters or 90 meters, it just means that, they're still trying to figure out how to get the technique and power to get themselves down the hill.
All right, who do we got up next? Anna Hoffman.
Oh, so Anna is one of she was our Beijing Olympian for Team USA. Oh, that's a great jump for her.
Ooh, that's an 80.
That's in the
jump at least.
Absolutely.
Is there cash money?
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying there. So it wasn't really per se that, so they're starting up at a different height now for the women.
Yeah, and it's really it's designed so that the best women will go about that same distance, like 90 to 95.
Okay.
So
Since
oh
since
yeah,
I
go ahead.
still don't have the video, which part of the mountain can I visualize where this is taking place?
That top left part.
Okay.
And actually, Kenny, we've got one of our former teammates joining us here in a minute. This is Sam Mazuga on the jump. But if you want, I'm gonna have Bob send you the live stream link if you want to see what's going on.
You have a professional join. I'm glad I got to join. Glad I got to meet you. Good luck to the athletes. Anybody from the state of Washington involved?
Not today, but I'd love to get the club in Leavenworth going again.
Hey,
okay. I used to go to school in Wenatchee, and the ski school is up there at Leavenworth.
Hey, Kenny, before you head off, we got one of the fans in the chat says that we need to head out to Park City, and me and you are going to compete in ski jumping.
Let's do it. Also, Mission Ridge, right? Mission Ridge out that way. I think that was the other one.
And
all
right.
You guys be well. Nice seeing you.
Peace, Kenny. Thanks for being on.
You got it.
Talk to you later. So Sam Mazuga looks like she's thrown down a nice ride. Actually, it looks like that last jumper was Natalie Eilers of Canada. Natalie looks like she went 72.5. So Anna's still holding a huge lead, obviously, Devin.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that jump was, I don't know how well the other girls usually jump, but obviously
this is one of the crowd favorites, Josie Johnson.
Josie Johnson.
She's, JJ. I believe 15, just competed in her first Junior World Championships, was the top American. But she's certainly not a really tall 15.
Oh, okay. That's a great jump.
Yeah.
So about 77 meters.
I think so. You're pretty good at this. We might have to hire you for the video measuring crew here.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, that line is very, very, very distinguishable.
Yeah. You can see she's about as tall as that bike barricade.
Yeah. I'm interested too. If you know most of the American athletes, quick rundown where everybody's from. We know Estella's from Wisconsin, but I mean what about Macy, Josie, and Anna?
So Anna is from Eau Claire, Wisconsin. And then we have Macy and Josie are both from Park City.
Okay.
And here we have Logan Sankey from the Steamboat.
Shout out Logan. I know Logan. She was one of the first we had on the show.
Mm-hmm. My guess is Logan is about to have a really good jump. She's been training really well. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So she's gonna be right in there with Anna, right around that 82.
Probably 83, 84 meter jump there.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
I think, let's see here. It looks like she's likely taking over the lead right now.
So I know Logan went over to Europe. So they had a few competitions and then they made a quick trip back to the US.
Yep. So they're going to finish this series out. So again, this weekend here in Utah, next weekend in Whistler, Canada, and then I'm going to be popping over to Lake Placid for the finale this year. So Logan did take over the lead. She's 4 points ahead of Anna. And now we have Kara Larson jumping on the bar. So Kara, she's from Chicago, Illinois, believe it or not.
Shout out Chi-Town.
And what's interesting is the Norgie Ski Club, which is about an hour on the North Metro line, north of the city, has put out more of our Olympic ski jumpers in the last 2 Olympics than any other club in America, and actually in all of them combined, believe it or not.
Really?
So really strong, healthy club right there in Chicago. The tallest thing for 100 miles is probably the top of that ski jump. And looks like Kara. All right, Kara moves into 4th place right behind Josie. Again, like what's interesting again with the, sort of the year-end travel this year in the Ukraine situation is this went from like 8 or 9 nations to 4, I believe, really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
But because we had that many nations on the entry a week and a half ago, they were able to just say, go ahead and have the competition, which, with COVID, Devin, I'm sure you've been through a lot of stuff. It's like, it's really hard because things are getting canceled. It's like trying to just make it work. All right, here we have our Swedish athlete. The sole Swede here is Astrid Norstedt. She is really leading the Swedish team as they try to, it's odd because.
Good jump.
So she had a little bobble on landing. Potentially the judges might look at that as a touch, which is a huge deduction on style. style doesn't normally play a role, but when you actually touch the ground in any way, one hand or all the way down, it takes a huge toll. But what I was going to say is Nordic skiing, you think all of the Nordic countries would be really good at all the Nordic disciplines, but honestly, Sweden has been a phenomenal cross-country nation, but they really have not been successful in Nordic combined and ski jumping. So she's kind of a pioneer for her country. And here comes Sam Mazuga. I must have seen a wrong graphic earlier, but Sam is another Park City athlete. She's been a huge spokesperson for USA Nordic and women's ski jumping these last few years. So she's really stepped up over the last 2 years. And this, I think, is her 4th year on the national team.
So when we're talking about the wind gauge, the negative wind means wind in their face. It's something.
Negative points means they're getting headwind.
So that's a good thing usually.
What's that?
That's a good thing usually.
It's a good thing, but they try to, kind of even out the field by taking a few points away. And it's actually pretty scientific. They're measuring the wind at 9 points on the hill right now, real time. And so as they fly through the zone where the anemometer is, they're calculating how much, benefit or penalty they're receiving and then trying to factor that in.
Okay.
It's not a perfect science, but it's certainly it's a lot better than it was when, it was nothing but flags and coaches like, oh, it looks safe, go,
Yeah. We try to do that in track and field sometimes, not officially like on the marks because all the racers run at the same time.
Right.
But, we like to say, oh, that was a 2.0 tailwind. That could have, that's if it's at 0.0, that's, 2/10 slower or a 10th slower usually.
Yep. And here comes Nina Lucy. So Nina is the veteran of the team. That's a good jump. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Nina is from Lake Placid, New York. She and I have the same birthday. She's about 10 years younger than me. And honestly, we're the same size. So a lot of her equipment as she was growing up was coming from me. Suits, skis, the whole deal.
That's great. But custom suit, right? You're in the suit room right now.
I am in the suit room.
How long does it take to make a suit from start to finish?
Somebody who's good at making one, 35 minutes.
Oh.
That's so you can see the paper hanging on the wall over there.
Yep.
So those are templates. And so, the coaches measure the athletes. They work with the athletes to make those templates. Then they cut the material off the rolls and they end up with, I guess, that side over that way.
Yeah.
The finished product.
What do we got here?
Looks like we got Paige Jones. So Paige is one of our top women's athletes. She was our best athlete last year at the World Championships, but then she ended up having a severe knee injury at a competition here in the US right after. So this is her kind of like her real comeback. And she's been incredible watching her just build her own motivation and get super excited that
was a great jump
after it. It's going to be tight here though. So Nina took over the lead
for sure
ahead of Logan and Anna, and we're waiting for the score from Paige to come in. This is Annika Bellshaw. I believe she was on World's Greatest, Devin. I'm not sure if you were there. She was on with her brother, I believe.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, I was on that show. Yep. They're not twins, are they?
No. There's actually 2 sets of siblings on the team, brother and sister. Both the sisters are named Annika. So it was either Annika Malasinski or Annika Bellshaw, but I believe both of them made the show. Annika is one of the most tenacious competitors I've ever met. She recently podiumed in a FIS Cup competition. I think it was 2 weekends ago in Europe, in Germany. But
so,
she's one of our
I'm seeing a little bit of like a right fade. Is that due to the wind?
Likely, yeah. It's either probably the track is tilted to one side a little bit or the wind is blowing down and from the left. Although I can see the flags out the window and it doesn't look like much is moving.
Okay.
So, because we're kind of doing this in a non-traditional format, we should talk about some of the more detailed things. When we showed up today, the sun had been beating on the track all afternoon, and we actually had to recut that track at the last minute. So, the team got out there with a bunch of buckets full of like a slurry of ice. And then right as it started to get back down to freezing temperatures, redid that entire track. They're now coming down. So this is Karina Voigt of Germany. So it's interesting. She's one of our better athletes on at this event. However, if you watch this replay, she basically missed the takeoff. You'll see her feet kind of come down. So it means she's really late.
Oh yeah.
Come up and she gets no effect.
Yeah. So that timing is super important. That's
It
what
is.
you know was crazy. And initially, before I knew a lot about the sport, I thought the ramp kind of went like this. It's flat.
It's actually negative 11 degrees.
Yeah, so like you legitimately have to jump. If you don't jump, you will not go anywhere.
You have to like literally jump off of that to get out of the hill.
Yeah.
All right, so now we have Josephine Lau of Germany as well. She's our last competitor, but right now we still have 3 Americans in first, second, and third with Nina Lucy, Paige Jones, and Logan Sankey.
That was like a good jump. Yeah.
That was solid.
Good jump.
I'm just going to go out on a limb and say I think that's going to put her right in the middle of the Americans, who are now currently 1st through 6th. Oh, she moves into 6th. So she bumps Josie Johnson, but we have 5 Americans in front of her still. So that's a really strong first round. My guess, though, you asked about distance. The jury will likely move the gate up quite a bit for the next round because they're really going to want to see some of these women go 95 meters. So I think they were being a bit conservative, and it's really hard once you start a round to move the gate. It's not very.
Wait, what do you mean next round? There's 2. They get 2 attempts.
Yep. So in Nordic combined, they get 1 jump in the race. In ski jumping, they have 2 rounds of jumping.
Oh, so we're going straight ski jumping now.
Yep. So this is straight. Yeah.
I thought we were Nordic combined still. I was like, oh.
No, we're going to do so this is the women's ski jumping Continental Cup field. Yeah. And again, you can see now Nina Lucy leading ahead of Paige Jones, Logan Sankey, Annika Bellshaw, Anna Hoffman for Team America there up front. The one of the Germans, Josephine Lau, is in 6th ahead of Josie Johnson, and the Swedish competitor, Astrid Norsted, and then Kara Larson, Samantha Mazuga round out the top 10. So as we go back into the next round, we're going to do this in reverse order. So Macy Olden will go first, and Nina Lucy will go last.
Looks like we got Grant Andrews.
How's it going, guys?
What's going on, Grant? Thanks for joining, man. Have you guys met before?
Just got back home after the competition.
No.
Sorry?
Have you met Devin before?
Yeah, we briefly met when I was in Lillehammer, actually. Yeah. Oh wait, no, we didn't. We were not on the same interview or live stream together. But I watched it, and you were commenting on what we did previously.
Nice. What's up, brother? Are you?
It's good to see you guys.
Are you in a competition area right now? Or are you just kind of off for the season?
No.
I just competed.
Remember
just
Grant?
now. I just got home after competing.
Oh, this is the Grant.
This is the Grant that we just watched about 30 minutes ago.
Let's go. How's it going?
Pretty good. Well, I mean, actually, not that great. It was not a very good competition for me. Sorry, I'm on my phone, so this is
No, you're good.
Yeah.
He's popping out. No, but Grant, this is cool. I mean, so we're trying stuff out. Obviously, thanks for running home and joining us. What do you think about today? Like, tell us a little bit about the competition, but then let's dive into some other stuff. Oh, actually,
yeah, sure. Well, great, sweet. I was told I have raced back 2018.
Hey, Grant, we're losing you, dude. We might have to kick you out. All right.
Can you hear me or no?
You're breaking up a lot, but we got the race. We just got the highlights to pop in here. So
you can watch it with us.
Yeah, watch it with us.
All right.
So here we go. So folks, this is what happened before the jumping. So mass start race. You can see everybody gets to go on the gun. 10 kilometers. And this race actually has about 1,200 feet of vertical gain and descent in it. So there's 4 2.5 kilometer laps. Each lap, they're gaining like about 300 vertical feet over the course of the lap. There's a few different climbs. And you can see on the first lap here, the group kind of stayed together. But if it's single file like that, it means the pace is high. And
Yep.
as they start to separate, I was actually announcing this live for the stadium. This first lap, it already started to split apart. You can see Taylor Fletcher on the right, and you can see Jakob Langa on the left as they started to separate themselves. And then this is that giant chase pack we talked about during the jumping with a lot of the American and Austrian skiers. I know it's hard to tell on TV, but a lot of those climbs are actually really steep. We're talking like 20 degrees, like a flight of stairs or even steeper. And, this grinder right here is several hundred meters long. And you can see Taylor already starting to throw the hammer down on the third lap and starting to really open up a time gap over the second place, which was Jakob Langa. A couple of the Americans here. And this was really the chase group for most of the race. We have David Mock of Germany, Aaron Costner of Italy, and I believe that was Thomas Redinger of Austria. And then this is Taylor, obviously powering his way to the victory here at the finish line. Nobody else in sight. I think the net time gap was about 30 seconds to second place. You can see him just now coming over the bridge at the Olympic Stadium down in Soldier Hollow. And then Jakob Langa finishing second, 30 seconds behind Taylor Fletcher, who's still chilling on the ground.
What was that? What was that drink that they gave him? Like a giant beer?
That was a 40. Yeah.
40.
He had a couple of his friends come down to celebrate his retirement. Yeah, it was really spread out. And a lot of it, Devin, I mean, racing when it's warm enough to be like in beach clothes, which it was today, is awful. When you're going that hard, that long, and you're also coming out of the winter where you're used to being like
Cold.
really cold the whole year. And by the way, Devin, we've got Sarah Hendrickson who jumped in just now. So Sarah, thanks for joining. Sarah's one of my board members and former teammates. She's now retired as well. She's the 2013 world champion in ski jumping. Sarah, Devin Allen is America's best high hurdler right now. He got 4th in Tokyo. And, it's sort of his off season, but sort of his on season. He's been crushing it at indoor. And he has been helping us host a lot of these sort of innovative new webcasts. And tonight's our first try at live streaming an event at the same time as, kind of having a little talk show. So thanks for joining us.
Yeah, that's awesome. Nice to meet you, Devin.
Nice to meet you too, Sarah.
So, Sarah, we've probably got it, I think, by my clock. In a second and see when exactly second round's supposed to start. I think we're going to be showing the podium ceremony for men's Nordic combined here in between rounds, but then really going into women's second round, which Sarah, I don't know if you were watching or if you saw the live ticker, but Team USA obviously off to a good start with 5 in the top 5.
Yeah, no, it's fun to see a bunch of names, and I've watched all these girls from when they started ski jumping, so it's fun to have a Continental Cup in Park City. I never got to compete in an international competition in Park City, so I'm really glad they have the opportunity to do so.
Yeah, I mean, Sarah, we were talking about it, like the attrition of the teams lately, just I think year-end budgets and obviously with Ukraine and travel, it was disappointing to drop down to so few. But on the flip side, this is the first event that we've had since 2009, which I'm pretty sure you competed in that Continental Cup. So hoping that we can make this, a staple on the schedule from here on out. And obviously pretty cool to have 6 in a row here in North America.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's definitely just going to be a good staple at the end of the season for a lot of the athletes. And I know everyone wants to travel to the U.S., so I think next year, keeping in mind that maybe the world will be in a little bit better place, more countries will be able to come over, and it'll just be a little bit more open. But we got to start somewhere, so we're happy that I think that we can still have this event happen in Park City.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Sarah, one of the things we've done during this is, we brought in a lot of different athletes, and I'll get confirmation from Bob if there's anybody else who will join us. But what I found fascinating, especially, sorry, I saw a text fly by my screen. What I found really interesting talking to Devin, especially in some of the women that have been at the world championship level in sprint and hurdles, is just how much of a mental game it is. I think we obviously totally get that from ski jumping, and I get it even from cross country, but even cross country is less. I think for a lot of degrees, it's more about, getting out there and just making it hurt and then making a few good calls. But it seems to me like what was amazing is just, how mental a sprint was, you know what I mean? So I don't know, Devin, you want to kind of chat to Sarah for a second while I go check in with the competition staff and just make sure I know when we're going to be starting our second round?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's interesting to me too. In the hurdles and the sprints, I always say when I run a good race, I almost black out from the gun, right? But I just found out from Billy today that the gate, the starting gate moves up and down depending on, what you practice and all that stuff. So I can't imagine you can do that. You can't really black out. You have to focus all the way to the takeoff because, it's going to be a little bit different timing every time you compete. So that's pretty interesting, just how much focus, kind of needs to happen, especially at a World Cup event like this, where, some prize money's on the line, some prize on the line as well. And it seems, my question is like, on average, what, do the athletes usually jump farther the second time around, or usually the first time? Because I know like sometimes in my events, a second race isn't always better, So what
Yeah.
do you think?
I think your sport's a little bit more like physically demanding. So I think, like you said, you have more races and you're going to run out of energy. And ski jumping is physically demanding in the types of training we do. But in a ski jump, I wouldn't say we expel like a ton of energy. So it's really dependent on the athlete if they have a better first round or second round. It just kind of depends on the athlete because it's just such a technical sport, if that makes sense. So
Okay.
it's really all over the place.
Okay. And so, and usually when you're looking to jump, we got a couple athletes in this event today over 80 meters. How often, like, I'm sure you're pretty consistent throughout the season, but I know the track kind of stays, changes based on, how far you jump from and kind of that, arc towards the bottom of the hill. I forgot what Billy called it. How often are you guys going over 90 meters? Like, you personally, and maybe some of these athletes coming up.
Yeah, often, very often. We call it the K point, the critical point. And so that's like the goal of where you want to land on the hill. So I would say if we could get maybe the gate to go up a little bit on this hill, it could help them jump a little bit over that 85-meter mark, which is what they were on the first round. So I know there's a little bit of tailwind, so that can be difficult. But yeah, I would say just giving a little more speed can help them get to the bottom of the hill.
And what is there a world record in this event? It kind of seems hard to have an official record because the tracks change. But is there like if you jump this distance, you're like the girl or the guy in this event?
Yeah, so we have what we call hill records. So each different hill, each ski jump around the world has a different hill record, and technically it has to be set in a World Cup event, but all the while it's still like documented in the results or whatever, like whatever the hill record is for this location. In terms of world record, there's a world record, which is the longest ski jump ever, and that's on a ski flying hill, and it's over 250 meters. So the hill record on this hill, I would have to go check the archives on that, but I think it's about 103 meters or something like that. So it's pretty far.
Okay. Do you expect any of the athletes to do that today?
No, I don't think so.
Not today.
It's pretty hard to go over 100 meters on this hill. But like I said, I'm not sure what gate they're going from, so hopefully we can get a little bit more speed this next round and hopefully bring them down to about 90 meters.
Okay, great. Looks like we're. Oh, hey.
Hi, Bill sent me in to say hello.
Oh, what's up?
I'm Barry Ann. I'm one of the race secretaries for the weekend.
Glad
and
you're here.
a parent of a development athlete. So
Great. So
how's it going?
Sarah, I have a
Going.
question too, because you competed at a high level, and I always ask the athletes that I like to interview in the show, what is one of your favorite places to compete, for one, just competition wise, and two, one of your favorite places to travel, because I'm sure you've traveled quite a bit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm a little biased because I won world championships in Italy, and we had an Italian coach at the time, and he was born and raised in this little town in the Dolomites, and we competed in a World Cup there the year prior to World Championships, and it was just like an amazing atmosphere. I really loved the jump, and we trained there. It was kind of like our second home. So I love it there, and then also favorite place to travel would probably be Norway. Just a really cool place. We also go to Japan a lot, or I used to go to Japan a lot, which is just very different and nice to embrace a different culture.
Are you doing these trips in the summer or in the winter? So is there snow or no snow?
Both.
Okay.
So both summer and winter, there's competitions. Summer and winter, we have artificial. We have plastic that we jump on the ski jumps. So
Like the
if you're
green
ever in
fingers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So we jump year round, which is what's so crazy.
Grant's back.
Hey, I'm back. I figured it out.
Amazing, Grant.
Hey, Sarah. Hey, Barry Ann.
hey,
Looks like we got a little podium ceremony. I'm not sure.
Yep, that's Jared Shumate. He got 6th place today.
Okay,
Nice.
so Billy said this, and I don't know what he called the podium, but he said the top 6 is called a something podium.
I don't know the term, actually, surprisingly.
Yeah, I don't know that term either. They do like top 6 at Continental Cups, and then they also do it at like World Championship events. So,
Okay.
but I don't know the
Yeah.
proper term.
Interesting.
For a Continental Cup, top 6 gets money for our sport, at least.
Mhm.
So it's kind of what you're shooting for. I mean, obviously you want to win, but
What are we talking? What are we talking money wise here? Like 6th place is going out with $50K.
oh no, not even close to that. Like for a Continental
50.
Cup, it's a very small number.
$50 maybe.
50
Sorry?
bucks. No, well, no. Billy said first place is 1,500, so I can imagine maybe 6th place is like 500, 200, 250.
Yeah, somewhere around there, maybe like 150, 200. I'm not entirely sure on the numbers, but around there. Yeah.
Okay, but that's what the fans want to know. We're
Yeah.
talking dollar bills out here.
Wait,
It's really not that much for us, unfortunately, but that's the way our sport is. So World
We're
Cup
not
is
doing
much
it
more.
for the money.
Yeah, I mean, and to be honest too, there's a few big events for track and field, but we're kind of in the same realm where
Totally.
if you win, you can make a good living, but if you're not really, then it's just kind of how it is.
Yeah,
so-
World Cup's
exactly.
different because you get paid out to 20th place.
Okay, nice.
if you guys were wondering what the time delay to the screen is, I just told Adam Schwal when to tell everybody to go out.
Oh, nice.
Or below where I am right now.
Taylor Fletcher.
There you
I know
go.
him. I know that guy.
Yeah.
So Grant, while we have you on, thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Chat a little bit about your competition today. I know, it's not quite the finish you wanted, but I always like to get the athletes' mindsets and kind of their, when I coach athletes, I actually coach track athletes at the college level. I say, hey, don't be hard on yourself post competition. Be critical, and that talk about like what you can improve on, the good things you did today, the bad things. So kind of give me a rundown. Your jump was over 80 meters. What do you usually jump in on a track like this today? Like what was your goal, and in terms of what could be better, what could be kind of cleaned up?
So the track today was actually difficult, which is surprising. That doesn't really happen. Um, the temperatures were kind of making it hard on the jump, and so the track was
being
sticky right at the
warmer.
takeoff. You
Yeah.
can kind of see down it there at the bottom. It was soft and sticky. So I'm hoping to go like 95 meters plus normally. And I've done it in the past, so it's not something like it's out of the picture.
Mm-hmm.
But technically today for me, I just like I had a decent jump, but stuck a little bit on the table, and because of that, like my flight just kind of went like this, and I had
Mhm.
no support underneath me to like help me build and go further. So I was just only carrying speed. So I wasn't entirely happy with my jump, but sometimes that happens. So
That's interesting, Grant. Just because, honestly, I was watching and I was wondering why so many people seemed like they were kind of hanging, but it makes a lot of sense if it's like slowing down on the table. It's like the worst feeling.
yeah, so well, some people like my first jump, if you are like really prepared for that speed change, sometimes you'll shift your butt too low and you'll be too far behind and you'll like kind of, we call it booting a field goal, and just like
Mhm.
come too high, and you'll gain a lot of height, but you won't go very far
Go
because you're not
inward, yeah.
carrying enough speed. And so that's what I did on my trial round. And then in my comp round, I was like, okay, the track's got to be better. And I pushed, like, I was in balance and pushed down and stuck. So I was just, I mean, this is really technical, but I was ahead of the speed. And so, like, my feet kind of went too far behind me, and my skis didn't support me. Yeah, it's kind of hard to explain in lame terms, but
No, I mean, but I think that's interesting. And for me, not knowing much about the sport other than what I see, it gives me a lot of insight just on, what's going through your mind as an elite athlete, and kind of how, things can change from comp to comp, and even from trial run to the actual jump, in
yeah,
competition, right? Because like you feel like a trial run should be, like, okay, I got it down. But like you said, the track changed between the trial run and the final, right? So
yep,
you even have to kind of keep your head in a swivel and kind of adjust, at that time too. So that's very interesting. So thanks for giving that insight.
yeah. I mean, normally you try to just like you try not to change anything. You try to do it the same every time,
Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't always work out that way.
Well, that's what I was just talking to Sarah about. In my event, it's pretty much the same every time, right? The distance is always the same. Only thing that changes is the weather. But it seems like you guys adjust the track height, the distance you guys are flying. Some of like the apex point, on the hill is different on every hill as well. So that's pretty interesting that like so many things can change and so many variables can change. Just from track to track and from first trial round to next trial round, which is something I never thought about, because I just assume that every track is the same, everything's the same, all the time.
Right. Yeah.
The Grant, I think we're getting ready to go here on the second round for women's jumping.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask you to take off. And Sarah,
Sure.
I'd like
Yeah,
to
it was good to
get a
say
little
hi.
info before we no, dude, it's awesome. I think it's so cool that you were able to compete and then show up here and share some of what's going on that even I can't really see from what I'm watching,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's hard to see. It's a lot of feeling. So,
All right,
all
buddy.
right.
Well, good luck tomorrow.
Thanks,
We'll
Grant.
see you after the comp.
Thanks.
Okay.
All righty. Ciao.
So, Sarah, I'm gonna have to dive and plug in my hotspot here. But one of the things that I was trying to explain to Devin is, that first round on women's jumping, everybody's like, well, how far should the women be going? And it's like, well, the same. So, I feel like the jury was a little bit conservative with the gate on that first round. Hoping, I think obviously we have a pretty good field here that they'll give them a little speed to run. You want me to go get Keith Hansen in here and you can talk him up? Oh, I think you're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah, I can hear.
Yeah, no, I mean, maybe it's there's a little bit of tailwind out there or something, but I feel like maybe a little bit more speed would be nice. I know these girls can handle it easily. So I was talking with Devin about what we're expecting for some distances in the second round, and hopefully they pump the gate up a little bit, get a little bit more takeoff speed, and see those girls around 90 meters have a little bit.
Hey, more speed
fun.
is always good.
Yes, exactly. More speed and headwind.
Yeah, Devin, so I know you guys hate headwind in your sport, but what's amazing?
Actually, that's an interesting statement there, because for the best hurdlers, we prefer a slight headwind, because towards the end of our race, hurdles 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, we tend to run up on the hurdles. We're running so fast that we're getting too close. And so if we have a little bit of a headwind, we can just be real aggressive. But if we have a tailwind, we kind of have to like back off and chop a little bit. Or we're going to run, just kind of flop into the next hurdle. So it is interesting. Like usually a tailwind is best, right, for just the overall time. But some of the best hurdlers in the world, some of the elite guys will definitely benefit with a headwind. Not a huge headwind, but like a slight headwind is always pretty good, especially if it's a slight headwind in warm weather.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's fascinating. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's super interesting to hear.
And two, if you like, you can watch some events. We got Grant Holloway, who's the 60-meter indoor world record holder, and he's the second fastest in history of the 110s outdoors. He's probably one of the examples of just running up on the hurdles too quickly, right? So it seems that he's one of those guys that definitely would benefit from a headwind in a race. And same with me. Towards the end of the race, I'm kind of running up on the hurdles and flying. So definitely interesting take. And I think, like you said, a lot of people wouldn't know that. Obviously, a tailwind is going to help you run faster, but if you hit the hurdle and fall, it doesn't matter.
So we got our first competitor, Macy Olden from Park City, on the bar here. Sarah, did you ever coach this youngster?
Oh yeah, I had Macy in a couple years of Fly Kids, which is our development camp every summer. So gone to know her quite a bit in the recent years, but I also remember when she was jumping on the 10 meter, and she's grown a ton. Just really great girl and super hard worker. So it's super fun to watch her in Continental Cup now.
I know she's one of my son's favorites, Liam. He was like, I really hope Macy jumps well tonight. So he's out there marking with a bunch of the kids that Seth Rothschild and Augie Repke, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I love it. I mean,
Macy's one of the younger athletes, right?
Yeah, she's our first year on the junior national team. So she's probably about 16, maybe even 15. I can't remember if I've seen her drive or not. Sarah?
I don't remember if she's driving or not either. I mean, I feel like you meet someone as a kid and they're forever 8 years old in your head, and you forget that they're getting older as well as you.
Totally. So this is Karina Voigt.
Ooh, there we go.
Devin, on her first jump, she just missed the takeoff. Like we saw her feet under her.
That was much better. Yeah, that's a good 80-meter jump.
59.5 to 80. So again, I mean, I think it from hurdles, but timing is everything, and obviously it's magnified at this speed. So
100%.
Yeah, definitely a better looking jump for her. So I hope she's enjoying her time out in Park City. I'm not sure if she's been here before. I think it's probably her first time. So hopefully she's enjoying herself.
Yeah, and it's so interesting too with that like timing aspect of the ski jumping, because when we watch it on TV, you can't really tell, the slopes and the degrees of the hill and all that stuff. But, Billy, informed me just, about 30 minutes ago that the slope is actually at a negative angle. Like, so you're not getting thrown off like a ramp. You actually have to jump in order to go.
Right. Yep. That's exactly where the jumping comes from in ski jumping. So yeah, it hangs at about negative 10 degrees. So that's why we do a lot of our physical training to maximize that power efficiency to get from the takeoff into our flight position by creating the most height while maintaining speed, as Grant was talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So that was Estella Hasrick, 63 on the first jump. Looks about the same on the second jump, but I think overall she's had a lot of really upward trend this year. So pretty cool to see her. She's from Wisconsin, right, Jen? Her mom popped in to tell me she wasn't from Minnesota last round.
Shout
So
out Wisconsin.
Yeah,
All right.
that was a great one.
Yeah, and then this is our Canadian athlete, Natalie Eilers. It was nice that she was able to make it down because it was touch and go if she was going to make it back from Europe in time.
Yeah, no, it's great to see her. She's made so many improvements over the past couple years. I jumped with her a little bit before I retired, and it's just so amazing to see the Canadian team and how much they've grown and developed in a country that doesn't really have working ski jumps full time. So it's always a pleasure when they come to Park City to train, and I know we use them a lot over in Europe to work together as Team North America.
I'm actually, so Sarah, does it strike you that their skis are hanging like tailwind? I'm trying to pull up the wind points right now to see if I can figure out what's going on.
Yeah, first round there was tailwind, like almost a meter per second of tailwind. So, night comp in Park City, that isn't too unique. The wind flags look pretty calm, but it's still, jumping at Park City, it's super high elevation, so the air is thin anyway, and then just that little bit of tailwind can be pretty tough. So, working with what you got, and it can definitely throw you off with that timing of the takeoff.
Yeah, and so this is Sam Mazuga. I'm kind of wondering if it's actually a little bit of a downdraft, kind of that nighttime, like the cold air starting to settle down into the valley like it normally does. Because I'm looking out the window, and yeah, the flags are pretty dead, but they're moving around. I'm wondering if there's more than the anemometers are actually factoring in.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that. I saw someone in the chat just asked, is it harder to jump at night than during the day? And we have lights that illuminate the whole hill, but I always struggled with jumping at night just a little bit more. I actually ended up getting contacts in my last few years as a competitor because I was just like really struggling with the nighttime variability. And so, I prefer jumping during the day, but theoretically those lights should light up the hill in a consistent manner, so it shouldn't be too big of a difference, but athlete dependent, I guess.
Who was that? Kara Larson?
Yep.
That was Kara. Yep. She's had a great season as well. I feel like really the last year and a half, she's really committed, and it's been cool to see the progress.
Absolutely.
I feel like these events are awesome to watch. Like if you're at the bottom of the hill, like just looking up, that'd be amazing.
It's pretty impressive. And it's really cool to see it from the side, like to get close enough. Yeah, we got to get you out here, Devin. You can hear it. It's like a fighter jet coming by. So we've got somebody else who's going to jump in here, Sarah. So obviously just be aware. We got another guest who's going to join us for the end of this round. Here comes our Swedish competitor, Astrid Norstedt. So Sarah, I was trying to explain, I think she's kind of a pioneer for Sweden ski jumping, right?
Definitely. I never competed with her actually, so I don't know the age. If you can pull it up, that'd be great. But it's, again, amazing that that's a country where there's no male ski jumpers at the international level. So it's pretty awesome that they've been able to find some girls passionate about the sport and have some awesome results within the team. So that's just so exciting for us. We love seeing new nations evolve, and yeah, that's what it's all about.
Totally. So it looks like Sam's in the lead right now and just kind of waiting to see what Astrid does here. Just trying to find out how old Astrid is.
We have Josie Johnson, who started a few years ago now, and just remember her little Spitfire from the age when she started on the 10 meter. She's improved so much, and great hard worker, great little athlete. So it's awesome to see her having a good season, and she's always having fun, which is huge.
Yeah, she's amazing. She crushes it on the mountain bike too.
She's a really, really good athlete. Her and Annika Bellshaw, I swear they could go professional, and mountain biking any day. So we
Mhm.
got to keep them around the ski jumping world.
I think they're pretty committed. You mentioned Nordic combined around Annika, and she's like 100% no way. She's like, I'll win them once in a while, but that's it.
Yeah, just, I was pretty much that way. And, since I've retired, I do a lot of mountain biking myself, and think maybe, that would have been a good idea, but we kind of specialized in ski jumping and stuck with that.
Yeah. So this is Josephine. This is the last competitor who could possibly break up, I think, what's almost surely going to be an American sweep. Oh man, I don't know. I don't see that she's gonna go up or she's gonna jump up enough to take a podium spot. What do you think?
Yeah, I didn't know the point differential between first and second round. Definitely a pretty good looking jump this second jump, but I don't know. I think it's gonna be a fight for the podium for sure.
Is this are we to win this event? Is it total points or just furthest jump?
It's going to be total jump or total points cumulative from 2 jumps. So
Okay.
right now, Josephine just launched into the lead, 202 points, so about 20 points ahead of Josie. But she's
Okay.
got 5 Americans coming right now, starting with Anna Hoffman.
Got it.
And
Yeah,
Sarah,
Anna.
what were your thoughts there on the last minute reallocation there to get Anna into the games?
Yeah, it was crazy. I'm going to nice looking jump from Anna. Good job.
Woo!
Yeah, I was working at the hospital that day. I'm in nursing school, so I was at the hospital and I got a text from her before the press release had come out, and she said, I'm going to the Olympics. What's your advice?" And I just thought it was really cute because I've known Anna for a long time, and we've done some things together on the ski jumps, and it's just it was awesome. It's great for the U.S. to have that spot, and I think it was a really good experience for her. And I told her that she couldn't focus on those results at that Olympics to really just bring in the experience and motivate her to train harder for the next one around where she can really jump to the top.
Well, she just took a 12-point lead over Josephine. So she's definitely trying to fight her way onto the podium here with Annika on her way down.
Yeah,
Oh,
nice.
I think she pushed a little hard though. It looked like she lost that right tip a little bit, huh?
Yeah, this hill is definitely a little bit difficult for her style. She's super good flyer, pretty aggressive jumper. I know she tends to like larger hills better with more pressure under those skis. So this hill is definitely more difficult for that. But what doesn't hurt you will make you stronger, and hopefully she can just gain a few knowledge points from today and bring it over to tomorrow's comp.
Yep. Well, and Logan had a good first jump, so it'll be interesting to see if she can actually. She obviously has to have a few more meters to overtake Anna, but she had a bit of an advantage coming into this one.
Definitely, yeah.
That's the Steamboat Springs, right?
Yep.
Yep,
And
her
actually,
and
so
Annika.
Devin, the Olympic trials is like our first objective. Oh yeah, so she came to play. So the Olympic trials is the first objective criteria for us. Hey, Kaylee.
Hi.
Hey, what's up?
Hey.
Kaylee, we're just watching the last few athletes here at the Park City Continental Cup for women's ski jumping. Where are you at?
I'm in Carlsbad, in
Right on.
California.
So it looks like Logan eked out Anna. She actually took a pretty hefty lead with 7 points. What I was saying is, so Anna beat Logan by half a point at Olympic trials, which then gave her the first spot for the games. So I think it's a very healthy, but it's a good rivalry within the team between those two right now. And then, like we talked about, Paige Jones coming back from an injury. So as she goes, so Kaylee, welcome. Thanks for joining us. Congratulations. I'm married to Katie Kaczynski Demung, who you know pretty well, I think, from your history in skeleton and bobsled. She's taking tickets out there somewhere, in the dark behind. But great jump for Paige.
Yeah, she's definitely had a good building season coming back from an injury, as Billy said, probably about a year ago when she hurt her ankle. And I feel like it's been a good progressive recovery, and just really excited for her to build on it and keep going.
So right now she just moved into second right in front of Anna. So we have Logan, Paige, and Anna, 1, 2, 3, with Nina Lucy, the last competitor of the night, trying to stay on the top step here. And then Kaylee, we want to catch up and hear what you've been up to ever since Beijing. But let's see what happens here. This is pretty intense. So down to the last competitor, Nina. This may be one of her last competitions. She's not decided, I think, whether to continue or not. But
That's
ooh,
a
that
good
was
jump.
a good jump. She's happy with it.
That's close.
That is going to be close. Definitely Logan, I think, took her on the second jump, but what the composite score shows.
Yeah, definitely everyone pushing each other, which is super good. So
Looks
87
looks
and a half
Logan.
meters, and Logan Sankey takes the victory. It's official on FIS right now.
gotcha.
So yeah, that was exciting. And I think we're gonna stick around till the podium here in a minute. I just wanted to ask you, Kaylee. So Beijing monobob gold medal, shared the podium with Alana. And what have you been up to since?
And speaking about good rivalries, Alana and myself, I mean, that's a rivalry in and of itself. I've shared every Olympic podium I've had with her, and we've really gone back and forth. Even when I was a part of Team Canada, now both of us being on Team USA, having a rivalry, same thing, is so important in both of us being able to push each other. As long as it remains respectful among competition, it really does help level the sport. New events was something Alana and I really helped each other with, but it also grew the sport at the same time. So the rivalry definitely had and has benefits. Monobob being the addition for women in sport in bobsled. Since the games, I mean, trying to unpack, just decompress a little bit. For us in bobsled, the Olympics ends our season, so we have nothing left, which is nice. It definitely adds a bit more pressure to the games, but at the same point, we get to come home and just relax and chill out, unpack. I feel like there was just so much build up to the games and just go, go, go that I pushed a lot of stuff aside. The amount of emails, catching up, family and friends I've got to connect with, but then also just coming down naturally from I'm sleeping, naps. Like I am exhausted as a whole, and I find I've got a giant to-do list, and if I get one thing done a day, I'm lucky. Some days I literally just sit there and take my dog for a walk, and that's pretty much the extent of what I'm able to do. So it really is hit and miss. Some days I'm very productive, and other days I am probably the laziest person you've ever met in the entire world. So just trying to take it in stride and take it day by day right now.
Well, good for you. I mean, I think everybody on this call, Kaylee, you know Sarah, right? So Sarah's
I know
22.
I don't know if we've actually met in person, but yes.
I know, yeah. I've obviously know your name quite well, but I don't think we actually have met. So nice to virtually meet you.
Yes, you too.
So, I think, and Devin, have you guys been on together?
No, I don't think so, but I'm summer games. I'm a hurdler.
So Kaylee, Devin's our top American in the high hurdles. He got 4th in Tokyo. And it's been awesome. I think he's as addicted to being on these shows as I am. But I think we all totally get where you're coming from. Like, I don't think people realize, like, when you win a medal or you have a great result, sometimes your phone just blows up so hard it takes like days to dig out again, because you don't want to like blow people off, but at the same point, it just wrecked your inbox on every channel you can imagine. You're just like, I don't even know.
When you're trying to maximize too, like you want to make sure that you're setting yourself up for future for whatever that is. We know that realistically, certain opportunities only come around. Trying to maximize, and you don't want to say no to people, but at the same point, you're tired and you need time for yourself and your family and friends and the people that have helped along the way as well. So it does take some getting used to. It is a bit of a balance and trying to get that selfish time alone and just recover, but also maximize opportunities and not miss anything. And as every athlete here knows, it definitely is a unique feeling after the games for sure. And I know lots about hurdles with my teammate being Alicia George and Lolo Jones.
Yeah.
Definitely, I could never do hurdles as a whole, but understanding what it takes, bobsledder too, because the two hurdlers I know made amazing bobsledders. So anytime
Hey,
you want to come out,
maybe coming soon, maybe 2026.
perfect. Post
You can live in my
athletics,
basement, man. It's all good.
come on over.
Yeah, that's the funny thing. Post competition, coming down off that high is really, really, a thing, right? Like you were saying, like, just walking your dog for the day is like the most you can do. For me, I was just like sitting on my computer playing video games for like 12 hours because I didn't want to do anything else. I was just like, I'm tired of working out. I'm tired of like eating healthy. I just want to like order pizza and not talk to anybody all day and, ignore my coach and all that stuff. So, yeah,
100%. You just need to turn off, just switch off, stop everything, and I think that's 100% normal. And from everybody I've talked to, literally everyone.
What's that, Sarah?
It's like little cabins up there at the top.
Nice to see you guys.
So we got him up to there. And
You taking off?
Take it off.
back in.
I gotta
Okay.
head out.
All right, Sarah, thanks so much for joining. This is like a cool experiment. I love the fact that we're able to pull this off. So thanks a lot. Say hi to Colorado and hopefully catch up with you this spring.
Absolutely.
Nice
See you
meeting
guys.
you.
Awesome. Well,
Kaylee,
we're
I have
gonna
a
have
couple
awards
questions
here
for
in a
you
little
real
bit.
quick.
So
of course.
let's just keep rolling here. I'd love to show this, but again, just to recap for the viewers, like Logan Sankey managed to climb up, I think it was third place, maybe even, it was third or fourth place actually, coming into the second round to take the win over Nina Lucy. And then Paige Jones on her comeback year from her injury last year, almost exactly a year ago, to take the third spot on the podium. Anna Hoffman was, maybe Kaylee, you ran into her over in Beijing, our sole women's ski jumper this time around. But as Sarah shared, like, I think really good that we were able to send a woman this year. That young team that's really on this list right now, I think it's really good to not have that, like, oh, we didn't get to go this time. And Anna was able to crack that and had a great time over there. And really, you can see just rounding out the top 10, Annika Bellshaw, Josie Johnson, and Samantha Mazuga and Kara Larson from Team USA, with a couple of the Europeans that are here in the middle. But, great competition. Going back kind of just while we're waiting here. So Devin, were you able to watch the women's monobob that Kaylee won?
Yes, I did actually.
And I don't remember if we talked about this on FanFest or not, or on World's Greatest, but Kaylee, one of the things that I find fascinating and also really, really interesting is, like, equipment plays such a role, especially in winter sports. And when you take like the equipment advantage out, like, you guys totally dominated, like, so just for everybody's sake at home, like, most bobsledding events are run with team equipment. So if Germany has better equipment than another country, Germans tend to do better, but you don't really know that. With monobob, it's actually a set of sleds. It's basically like you draw a number out of a hat and you get that sled, but they're all the same. And so at the Olympics, it's a very even playing field. I mean, Kaylee, what was that like? Or, do you like that format? Was that something you'd want to see in like 2-man?
It's definitely something I'd want to see more in the sport of bobsled. At first, when it came out, I thought this is not going to work. They've had to tweak the way they do things a little bit. The country actually can own their own sleds, but they all have to come from the same manufacturer. Okay. You're not allowed to chop and change them, which makes them uniform in monobob. That's it. Which makes them uniform, which is nice. So it takes the problem in what we're seeing, and what you probably saw if you watched any other bobsled event, the Germans dominated 1-2 in men. They swept the podium. They won skeleton luge. The Germans won 9 of the 10 Olympic gold medals that were offered in all of the sliding sports as a whole. They put a lot of money and invest a lot of money into their equipment. Unfortunately, not a lot of these countries have that option, which is part of why monobob was added in the first place, was to open the door for smaller nations, to allow women that don't have a lot of access to super expensive equipment, as well as a lot of other girls and women and coaches to come in. Know about this. I know how important equipment is. I'm from a bigger nation, so I like that we're always right on the edge pushing the limits. But at the same point, since having it and knowing that Team USA owns 3 sleds, so the sleds we were able to ship, I got to drive for the year. They're taking safety into account, but it does make them all regulated is really nice, because it does take the equipment piece out of it. It comes down to your athletic ability, which is what the Olympics should be about. How fast you push the sled, how well you drive, not how much money you have or how many years your program has been investing, or who your program aligns with, whether it be FIS or, Ferrari or Bodine or whoever else, BMW. It just comes down to pushing and driving, which is the skill of the athlete. So I really do hope in the future that 2-man and 4-man do go this direction, and that the countries are allowed to own their equipment and the athletes can have use of that equipment for the entire year. The carousel that they originally started with years and years ago of, the IBSF, our international federation, keeps all the sleds and you just get drawn a number out of a hat. That doesn't quite work for me because of the way we have to set up the sleds. How I sit is different than, a girl who's 5'1" or 6'2".
Right, of course.
And just kind of like in a car, you move your seat back and forth where the steering wheel is. Everything is set up for us individually to drive down comfortably and safely. So you can't chop and change too much, but I like the fact that the nations can buy the sleds that come from the same factory and you're not allowed to change them. You're allowed to add some padding and move your seat and your foot pegs and stuff, but that's it. You're not allowed to change articulation or springs or any of that kind of stuff. And so it does make it a lot more fair, which is where you see Australia won a couple World Cups this year. Canada was up there. Some of the rookie girls that we're not used to seeing have a chance to be on the podium now. So I think it does change the game of the sport, and for the better.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, it's funny, obviously skiing is the worst, right? Because not only do you have equipment, you also have wax, right? Everything's changing every day. And you see the Norwegian wax truck pull, and you've probably seen it driving around Europe. It's like a semi truck that folds up and out. They've got 24 techs in there. Most teams have 2. So, it's really frustrating when the difference is really not the person, it's the equipment. Even in ski jumping, a lot of the things that we're dealing with are, different bindings, different skis. Obviously the suits are your wings. And so, I would love to see, more regulation in our sport. But the problem is, and you've probably seen it, Kaylee, is the more you try to regulate, the more rules you write, the more likely you are to actually create a difference that a bigger team with more money and more brain power can actually think through and find a new advantage. That's what we keep running into in especially in ski jumping.
Yeah, and they will, but they're always going to do that. They're always going to, at least when you change it for a bit. And what we found with mono, there's only so many things they can change. Then you set the rules, you make them. Yeah, they're always going to be looking for new advantages, but the advantages that they can gain are small, and they have to do a whole bunch of them.
Right.
Whereas right now, just leaving it alone allows for those bigger advantages and the bigger amounts of money and dollars to make such drastic change.
Yeah.
And they get more of a monopoly over things. So they're always going to find advantage. This is their sport and what they love and what they're good at.
I think we lost her. Kayla, if you're coming back. So we're just finishing up the podium here. Obviously, Team USA is psyched to be taking 5 of the top 5 spots here, or 5 of the top 6. It looks like our German friend Josephine was able to crack into the top 5. But I just want to give one more PSA thank you to our sponsors of the event: Summit County Restaurant Tax, Utah Life Elevated, obviously, and backcountry.com for the amazing apparel that they've been able to provide us and support our jumpsuit program this year as well.
Shout out.
Big shout outs. So, Kaylee, really appreciate you joining us. I think we're about to end the feed. Let's stay in touch though. And Devin,
Yes.
I'm sure I'll be talking to you. I've got your cell number now. I think I finally saved it. So when you're ready to come
Took you long enough?
What's that?
Said it took you long enough?
Well, it's been a busy couple weeks. No, but I'm looking forward to that ski trip. Kaylee, when are you coming out here?
To Placid?
Oh, I'm actually in Park City right
Park
now.
City.
But I will be in
Park
Placid
City.
in 2 weeks if you're around. Devin's threatening to come up.
Well,
what's crazy is,
ropes. If he's going to be a bobsledder in the future, then
hey, I'm in San Diego right now. It's a quick trip to Carlsbad.
I don't know. I'm feeling
we
like
need to go for coffee. I'll tell you
Before you go, too, I have one quick question, and I'm interested just about the sport in general. The basis of being competitive in the event is being fast, being able to push fast, and be able to steer, like you said. What do you think is your biggest advantage over your competitors, right? Like in my event, I'm, the hurdles, there's a, jumping aspect, but my biggest advantage is being faster than most of the competitors. Which one of your biggest advantages when it comes to the event? Are you, Lewis Hamilton out there on the track, or are you Usain Bolt pushing that thing?
more Lewis Hamilton.
Okay.
My advantage is in I'm definitely a lot more detail orientated than most, and my coachability and my ability to recognize and change on the fly as we're driving down, and to drive down very quickly is one of my greater skills. So in Beijing, the track being longer, I was able to make up a bit of a time deficit at the start that I had. So I'm good enough at the start. I am fairly fast, and I'm strong, but I'm not the best at both. At the same point, my skill in being able to drive a bobsled is far superior to most. So that definitely is my advantage. I can drive really well.
That's great. Yeah, and I saw a couple tweets from Stu while you were competing. And if you have Stu with you, you're gonna be fast for sure.
Yeah. I lucked out on that one. Stu's been my coach since 2007. So
yeah.
McMillan has taught me a lot. So I was able to start with him early enough where, again, speed, I'm not naturally a fast person, so he has maxed me out to the most of my ability, trying to be as fast as possible. Oh, how about now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Good? Okay. Yeah, Stu's maxed out my speed ability for sure, which is good, but we focus on it again in bobsled. You don't just need speed, you need strength and more explosive power. So what you have to get over the hurdle while being fast is very important. And so that's where I can get away with being not quite as fast. But at the same point, I know who the best are, and I go seek that out in order to be the best. And for me, training, a big portion of that has been Stu.
Shout out Stu. He's a good guy.
Awesome. Well, Kaylee, we're going to wrap things up here. Thanks a lot for joining. We'll be in touch about the world's greatest get together. With that, yeah, thanks a lot for being on. Devin, thanks a lot for joining me to host our event here in Park City. Look forward to having you out for a little ski date here.
I'm 100% coming out. So when I do decide, probably post-season, off-season, in the winter, maybe October, November, we're gonna bring the whole crew out.
Let's do it. Awesome. Well, we'll be in touch on that. Again, thanks to to our partners, backcountry.com, the state of Utah, Life Elevated, and the Summit County Restaurant Tax Grant. Devin Allen, I love where we're going with this. I think for a first time trying to a talk show over a competition, we did pretty well. So looking forward to getting together with you and Bob and the team after this and trying to figure out how to do it again and even better in the future. So shout out to World's Greatest, Fan Fest, and Squawk Productions here in Park City. capturing the content on the ground. And thanks
Love
for
it.
all of you at home for being patient as we work through a couple of bugs today. But I mean, again, live stream is a bare bones version of live TV, and it's really cool. Everybody's going to be raising a glass here in a minute and is celebrating a great show. So thanks for tuning in. And Devin, you got anything to add? You ready?
No.
What's that?
Thanks for having me. You know, I'm loving learning about the sport. I'm loving learning about, you know, a lot of things that I don't do personally, and getting the chance to interact with the fans is great as well. And seeing these live events, which, you know, we talk about how important it is for Olympic sports, especially to get exposure and people have the opportunity to watch them, and, you know, in turn, you know, the opportunity for the athletes to be seen, which is great. So I really appreciate, you know, World's Greatest. I appreciate you guys, you know, for putting this on.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks a lot. And we'll be hooking up over text here in a minute. And everybody at home, until tomorrow morning.
Peace
Okay.
out.
Peace out.